Hello, Blackhawks Nation. Welcome to the Blackhawks Daily, your favorite recap of the daily buzz around your Chicago Blackhawks. I'm your host, PJ Benoit. Thank you for tuning in as we uplift and we support and celebrate our beloved Hawks as they're just going through their centennial season, right? It's a lot of fun. If you're new here, welcome. And if you haven't already, please take a moment, hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me. Would also love to have you along as we build this wonderful community of truly just excellent people. You'll see in the comments. We've got our normal top 4 topics of today, so let's dive in, shall we? So, wanted to bring up the Avs game again because there are some things to take away from it. Scott Powers over at The Athletic did a beautiful job summing it up. And so let's kind of dig into it. What do we learn about the Blackhawks' growth in their very tight 1-0 loss to the Avalanche? So it wasn't just a game, it was a measuring stick moment, okay? So context matters, and the Hawks needed a response. So let's rewind a little bit. We did this yesterday, but on Thursday night, the Hawks blew a 2-0 lead and lost 3-2 to Seattle. It was absolute gut punch, right? Those kind of losses absolutely hurt. Friday night, Buffalo ran them out of the building 9-3, their worst loss in the season. 2 rough nights in a row, and for teams in a rebuild mode, especially for the Hawks over the past few years, those games can tend to snowball. Also, ironically enough, before Friday night's game, we were one of 4 teams in the NHL that hadn't had 2 losses in regulation yet, but now we do. So coming into Sunday night against the best team in the NHL, the Colorado Avalanche, everyone had the same question. Are the Hawks still fragile? Or is this a team that's finally growing into something tougher, more resilient, more real? And honestly, the answer is somewhere in the middle, but trending in the right direction. So what did Sunday show us? We lost the game 1-0, but they didn't fold, they didn't panic, and they didn't look like a group that got shelled in Buffalo. They look structured, they look competitive, and they look like a team that can rebound, not collapse. Scott Powers wrote that the Hawks even arguably outplayed the Avalanche in stretches, right? We talked about that first period. And it's true. They were sharp, disciplined, and physical. It felt like the Hawks that we saw in the first 20 games of the season, not the ones in the 48 hours previous. So now they're well past moral victories. This team hates that phrase. Jason Dickinson even said so. And he also said something really telling. He said, quote, "I prefer the adversity and the response. We're trying to find our way and measuring ourselves. There's no moral victories in the NHL." And then he also added that every game matters, regardless of who the opponent is or what the circumstances are around it. And what matters most is showing up every single day, especially after a tight loss. And that's exactly what the Hawks did on Sunday. So, now one good response doesn't fix everything. Blashill knows that. Before this losing streak, the Hawks were one of 4 teams in the entire league that hadn't dropped 2 straight in regulation. And for a young group, impressive, right? But now with 3 losses in a row, Wednesday against the Wild becomes kind of huge, right? So Blashill even adjusted the practice schedule, something he hasn't done in weeks because he wants urgency. He wants the team to reset their schedule. He knows that Wednesday is critical. In his words, we want to avoid those negative runs. Wednesday is going to be critical. Building off the positives, we just need a better second. And that's a coach who believes in what he has. He's and is also pushing the group to avoid letting this skid define them. So what did we learn? We learned that the Hawks can take a punch, they can respond, they can hang with the league's best. They're not fragile anymore. They're not fully formed totally yet either. This loss showed some progress. Wednesday will show if they can turn that progress into performance. So would love to see what you guys think about that. As always, your comments are wonderful. So let's move on from there. And we got some updates. So we got a full practice update as the Blackhawks got 2 much-needed days to regroup before Wednesday's matchup against the Red Hot Wild. After dropping 3 straight, including that loss in Buffalo and the tight one back home, it's a reset window that the team absolutely needs. So we're going to talk about Burakovsky, Brossoit, a couple other maintenance days, right? So Burakovsky's day-to-day, he's skating in non-contact, right? And that's kind of the biggest headline. He's back on the ice wearing the gray non-contact sweater and doing individual work with skills coach Brian Keane. He didn't join a full practice, but the fact that he was moving again, getting reps, great sign. God, thank God, right? Burakovsky has now missed 2 straight games after taking that high hit from Seattle's Ryan Lindgren. A hit right to the head that forced him out of the game and kept him sidelined Friday in Buffalo and then again Sunday versus Colorado. Blashill didn't commit to him returning on Wednesday, but he did say he's still day-to-day. He's progressing. It's not a guarantee, clearly, but it's definitely forward movement for a guy who's been a key part of the top 6 and currently the team's 3rd leading scorer. If he's back on Wednesday, it's a big boost. If he's not, Chicago will need another strong night from the Moore-Nazar line to fill the gap. And now our favorite goes Laurent Brossoit. He skates again, right? It's a positive sign. He's back out there, and this time he's not just skating on his own. He actually got into the drill late in practice. That might not sound huge, but for Brossoit, considering the last 15 months, it's pretty massive. And here's what he's been through. He's been through a meniscus surgery in August of 24, follow-up knee procedure in November of 24, and then hip surgery August of this year. He never took part in a single on-ice practice all of last season. Blashill said, we're trying to get him integrated into some real-type situations, and we'll continue to do that. So there's no timeline for when or if he'll be game-ready this season, with Blashill adding, let's take that when it comes. But the important part, he's finally healthy to begin real goalie movements with the team. And with everything he's been through, it's a win. And then with 4 games in 6 days on the schedule, Blashill gave Teravainen and Grzelcyk maintenance days. Both have played all 22 games this season, so it's kind of expected. Blashill said he anticipates both will be 100% ready for Wednesday. The interesting wrinkle is where Teravainen slots in when the Hawks face Minnesota. He's bounced between the second and third lines recently. If Burakovsky returns, Teuvo probably ships back to line 3. If not, we'll see him in the same Nazar-Moore-Teravainen line and trio that played against Colorado. We should have a clear lineup picture after Tuesday's practice. And then final thoughts. Here's where things stand. Burakovsky is close, still day-to-day. Brossoit is taking meaningful steps for the first time in over a year. The vets are resting up before a massive divisional matchup. And Wednesday versus Minnesota is quietly one of the biggest tests of the season. Can the Hawks stop this 3-game slide and get back to the identity that they had through the first 20 games? Drop your thoughts below. Do you think Berkey returns on Wednesday? What does your ideal top 6 look like? Always be interesting to get what you guys think. You guys rock. All right. Moving on from there, one of you intrepid commenters, I apologize, I don't remember which one it was, but asked for a little deep dive on Louis Crevier. Said, yeah, let's hear a little bit more about him. Sorry, not Louis, Louis Crevier. So let's take a look how he's doing so far this year, where he's headed, and why he matters for the future of the Hawks. So, who is Louis Crevier? At 6'8", he's a giant, clearly, and 228 pounds, Crevier is a massive presence on the back end. Drafted by the Blackhawks in the 7th round, 188th overall in 2020. He wasn't a fly-high prototype, but what stood out was his size, his skating ability for a man that size, and his defensive-first orientation. He signed a 2-year deal averaging $900,000 per season starting in 25-26, showing that Chicago believes in him. And how's he doing this year? Well, this year, he's absolutely stepping it up. From a recent article, in 18 games this season, he already has 10 points, 2 goals, and 8 assists. He leads or is tied for the lead among Blackhawks defensemen in assists and points. He's logged more shots on goal than some of his more heralded defensive peers, 20 shots ahead of Levshanov's 19 or Vlasic's 18. Defensively, his numbers are strong. He started nearly 80% of his shifts in the defensive zone, yet has been on the ice for only 4 goals against at even strength in 210 minutes of play. Plus minus, he's at a +9 rating and just 2 games with a dash next to his name in 18 appearances. That kind of consistency is promising. So what you're seeing is more than just the occasional flashes. Crevier is becoming a regular contributor. And at his size and build, that kind of emerging two-way player is rare. So what's his prospect future? So let's talk about trajectory. Crevier's path has all the markers of a top 4 NHL defenseman down the road. His strengths, obviously, are elite size and reach at 6'8", 228. He disrupts plays, he hides skaters, and throws big blocking lanes. Growing offensive value. He's no longer just a defensive guy. The assists, shot attempts, even the occasional goal means he's adding another dimension. Reliability. His minutes and usage show trust from coaches already. Areas to keep developing. Mobility and transition. Big guys often lag in the high-tempo modern NHL. Crevier skates well, but he still has to prove he can handle elite speed on the rush. Offensive consistency. He's hitting nice peaks now. Turning those into steady production every game is the next step. Special teams and high leverage minutes. As his role grows, he'll face more challenges in penalty kills, tight game zones, and two-way heavy matchups. The bottom line, if everything breaks right, Crevier looks like a cornerstone piece of Chicago's blue line for years. He's still young in his development, but he's way ahead of schedule for a 7th-round pick, and that's huge. So here's the verdict. This season's kind of a creep-up time for Louis Crevier. The Blackhawks are sending him cues, heavier minutes, more responsibility and trust, and he's responding. For the fans, keep your eye on him, because in the following ways this season, how does he perform in games against elite offensive forwards? Does his offensive numbers climb or plateau? Does the team lean on him in close one-goal games? If he nails those tests, we're looking at one of the best value prospects turning into a foundational NHLer for Chicago. So, drop your thoughts below. Which trait of Crevier's do you think will define his future? His size and shutdown ability, or his evolving and growing offensive upside? Or do you think he's ready for top 4 minutes now? Or another year of growth is still needed? You guys have wonderful comments. It'll be fantastic to see what you say. And speaking of comments, let's get to them. So, Alrad5886, I believe a repeat offender. The play on Burakovsky should have been a major match penalty. Obviously, the Colin Bedard was a missed stole. Stole the game from the Hawks. I seriously think the league has it out for the Hawks. Yeah, I mean, that is a gripe that you hear from a lot of Hawks fans, that we think that the league's against us. I would certainly hope not, right? Sometimes it feels like that, though, but I would certainly hope not. Bill Osborne, 5070, I believe is a new contributor, says, I miss Zadorov. Or Zadorov. Zadorov played like one season, I think, for us. Yeah, he played one season for us. Big Russian guy for sure. So we miss him too. Absolutely. He was, if I remember right, he was ballsy. Lester 701, the commander. Hello to you and everyone. I hope you had a great weekend. The Buffalo game, damn, let's try to forget it. Hope the organization can get it and keep it together and soar. The crap with the officials, we talked a lot about the officials last time, especially if the Blackhawks need to be resolved. Now, dagnabbit, someone's going to get hurt bad. Someone's going to go off on the ice severely if this shite is not dealt with soon. And he believes that all sports officiating stinks. Not always, but certainly sometimes there certainly can be some bumps in the road, right? I feel especially Chicago teams get jacked around by officials in all sports. The game last night, talking about the Avalanche, the Hawks were with it, toe-to-toe all the way. A mistake by Knight caused that goal. Yeah, a rare mistake by Knight. He is human, though, so, oh well. If most of their games are like last night's games, we will have an exciting season. Absolutely, Lester. Thank you for your contributions. As always, young man, really appreciate it. Joshua Bauman, 3209, definitely a repeat offender now. One bright spot through this losing skid is there hasn't been a game where Bedard didn't bring it. Even when he didn't land any points, he was still driving offense and defense and bringing his A game. Absolutely, man. Great observation there. Thanks for leading this group therapy session, PJ. Sure. The bill's in the mail. All right. Thank you, Ned, but that's great stuff. So that is a wrap for today, Blackhawks Nation. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Please like and subscribe. If you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support and for sharing about the channel with all your family, friends, and neighbors. Get them all in here. The more, the merrier. If you made a comment, thank you for sharing your thoughts and your expertise and passion about the Hawks with us all. And if you're a repeat offender in the comment section, thank you so much for your contributions. It's absolutely an honor to build this community with you. Seriously, you guys make my everyday. It's so much fun. Really appreciate you. Thank you to all as we celebrate the best team in hockey with the very best fans in all sports. That's you guys in the absolute best city this world has to offer. That does it for now. I am PJ, and we'll see you next time on the Blackhawks Daily.